I never thought I would become the kind of husband who disappears without a word, but life has a way of teaching you lessons in the cruelest ways. My marriage to Laura had seemed perfect, or at least I had convinced myself of its perfection. We had been together for over a decade, married for 7 of those years, raising 2 children and building a life that from the outside looked enviable. Friends admired us. Family admired us. Even strangers would occasionally comment on how stable and happy we seemed. But as it turns out, appearances can be devastatingly deceptive. It started with small things, subtle changes in Laura's behavior that I initially brushed off as stress. She began staying late at the office more frequently, citing endless projects. Her phone seemed to always be just out of reach, and she became defensive if I asked a casual question about her day. I convinced myself I was being paranoid. I told myself I was imagining things, but a man notices eventually. You notice when someone you love is slowly slipping away, when the little pieces of normality you once took for granted start to feel off. The moment of truth came one ordinary evening. I had come home early from work, eager to surprise Laura with dinner. The house was unusually quiet. The children were at their grandparents' for the weekend, so it should have been a calm evening. But there was something about the way the living room looked. The laptop left open on the coffee table, the soft glow of its screen, the faint hum of electronics that drew me in. Curiosity, suspicion, and an unspoken dread pushed me closer. On the screen there was a video file with a generic, meaningless name. I didn't want to click it. I tried to reason with myself, maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was work-related, a slideshow, something innocent. But a gnawing voice in the back of my mind whispered the truth I didn't want to hear.
Slowly I pressed play. What I saw destroyed me.
There she was, my wife, in our bedroom with another man. Not some stranger. Someone I vaguely recognized. A co-worker she had mentioned in passing. Someone I had trusted as part of our social circle. Every intimate moment, every kiss, every touch played out before my eyes like a betrayal incarnate. My heart pounded, my vision blurred, and my stomach turned over. For years I had believed I knew her. For years I had loved her, trusted her, built a family with her, and now it was all a lie. I didn't shout. I didn't throw anything. I just sat there, frozen, staring at the screen, feeling the world shift beneath me. Anger rose in a tidal wave, but beneath it was something colder, clarity. I realized that any confrontation now would only give her the satisfaction of drama, of guilt she could manipulate or excuses she could spin. I didn't want confrontation. I wanted justice and I wanted peace. By the next morning, I had made up my mind. I contacted a lawyer quietly and methodically. Divorce papers were drawn up. Custody arrangements were discussed. Every detail was planned so that I could sever ties with Laura completely while still protecting the children. I kept calm during the day, acting as though nothing had happened, pretending to function normally. But inside, every decision I made, every movement I took was part of a plan. That evening, Laura walked in, smiling, humming, expecting the normal warmth of her husband who had no idea she had betrayed him. I kissed her on the cheek and she leaned in, oblivious to the storm that had begun brewing inside me. Dinner was quiet. We didn't talk much, and that was just as well. I was waiting, letting the tension grow, letting the sense of normalcy lull her into false security. When the children returned from the grandparents the following weekend, I knew it was time to act. I invited Laura's parents and siblings over under the pretense of a family dinner. She was radiant, wearing a dress she knew I liked, chatting excitedly about the kids, the upcoming school play, and the new projects she had at work. She had no idea what was about to happen. Once everyone was seated, I placed the laptop on the table, making sure the screen faced her. I clicked open the video file. Her laughter froze mid-sentence. I looked at her directly, my voice calm, measured, but carrying the weight of years of betrayal. "Do you want to explain this?" I asked. Her face went pale. Her eyes darted from me to the screen, and I watched the realization hit her like a physical blow. Her parents leaned forward, confused, then horrified as they recognized the man in the video. Her siblings gasped. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the laptop, the undeniable proof playing out on the screen. She tried to speak, to stammer out an excuse, but there was no excuse. I didn't give her the chance. For years I raised children who weren't mine, thinking we were a family. You betrayed me, humiliated me, and built a life on lies. Now everyone knows the truth. Her tears fell freely, her hands shaking. She reached toward me, her voice cracking. "Please, I made a mistake. I love you. We can fix this. I'll end it with him. I promise." I didn't respond. I didn't move. I didn't even blink. Instead, I handed her the divorce papers I had prepared. "It's over," I said simply. "And this time it's final." After that night, I disappeared. I changed my phone number, blocked her on all social media, and refused any communication outside of legal necessities. I ghosted her completely. I refused to answer calls, texts, emails. Any attempt at contact was met with silence. The ultimate revenge was quiet, cold, and total. I let her live with the consequences of her actions, stripped of the drama she might have expected, left to face humiliation and shame on her own. Weeks turned into months. Laura's affair partner had vanished from her life the moment she was exposed. Friends slowly distanced themselves as whispers of the video circulated. Her family, devastated by the betrayal, kept their distance. And I started rebuilding my life quietly. I focused on the kids, ensuring that despite the betrayal, they felt safe and loved. Their innocence was not to be tarnished by her mistakes, and I became both shield and anchor. Every time I thought about her, it wasn't anger anymore. It was clarity. She had chosen deceit. She had chosen a secret life over the family we built. My choice was simple: reclaim my peace, protect my children, and remove toxicity from my life. Ghosting her wasn't cruelty, it was survival. It was a statement that some betrayals are beyond words, beyond confrontation. Some betrayals demand absence. In the quiet mornings, when the house was still and the kids were brushing their teeth, I felt a strange serenity. I had survived the ultimate betrayal and had come out stronger. I had loved fully, trusted fully, and now I could choose to love and trust selectively again. And every time I looked at my children, their laughter, their small accomplishments, I knew that despite what had been taken from me, something invaluable remained. My role in their lives, my presence, my truth. Some say revenge is a fire, consuming everything in its path. But mine was ice, calm, deliberate, and utterly final. Laura had assumed she could hurt me and walk away unscathed. Instead, I let truth do its work. Silence, absence, and inevitability became my instruments. And it was more devastating than any confrontation, any shouting match, any public humiliation. The lesson is brutal but clear. Betrayal leaves a mark, but the way you respond defines you. I chose to protect myself, protect my children, and strip her of the power she had wielded through deceit. The ghosting wasn't cruelty, it was reclamation. The divorce wasn't just legal, it was symbolic. The exposure wasn't spectacle, it was truth. And now, as I look back, months later, I realize something important. Pain fades. Anger diminishes. But dignity once reclaimed becomes unshakable. I don't miss her. I don't want her back. She is a ghost, a shadow of what could have been, and I am free. Free from lies, free from betrayal, free from someone who had no right to share in the life I built. The story doesn't end with revenge. It ends with survival, clarity, and peace. Some people chase vengeance, shouting it from rooftops, burning bridges in flames. Mine was quieter, slower, and infinitely more effective. Because sometimes the most devastating response isn't the one people see. It's the one they never see coming. And that's the story of the night I found the video. The weeks that followed, and the life I rebuilt after ghosting the woman I once loved. I will never forget the betrayal, but I also will never forget the freedom that came after.